afternoon to all. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us. We can see our friends joining from Singapore, Dubai, and India. Welcome, all of you. Without any further ado, let's meet our panel of speakers. Today, we have Manoj and Mallinath with over 2 decades of experience who will show us how to debug and enhance existing codes with ChatGPT. Respecting everyone's time, let's get started with our speakers. Manoj, please take it away.
Thanks, Sriparna. Hello, everybody. So today's agenda, so we are going to talk about the ChatGPT primarily in the development environment. That's what the prime focus today. And before we get into that, so we would like to just introduce who we are and what we do. And then we will go with the remaining set of the discussions and then the demo for ChatGPT in our software development scenario. Right. I am Manoj Ranganathan. I was taking care of service delivery and the director of product engineering vertical in organization. And I have Mallinath Karkanti with me, is our senior delivery manager who primarily takes care of the recent innovations and then the product development side of things. So we'll directly just move to the next slide where we talk about the company's overview. So a very quick brief about Packard Digital. We are now into our 8th year of service, working with more than 80 enterprise clients across 10 time zones. And we have around 300 plus cloud educated engineers with various specializations. Many of them are certified to work on multiple cloud environment. So what we do is almost all of our projects fall into these 5 broad verticals, which talks about on the left hand side, we have the product management area where we engage with many of our customers to do a detailed discovery or assessment of their needs and come out with a product roadmap that includes engineering backlog and MVP and marketing and the go-to-market strategy to name a few milestones. We generally work with our clients. So on the user experience side, I mean, this is one of the main key areas where we are focusing as well. And on the user experience, we have a lot of experience in conducting UX assessment to understand the gaps and come out with the recommendations on improving them with respect to industry-leading benchmarks and setting new ones. This more often than not an afterthought in the engineering implementation, but a very critical aspect to drive your design and user experience. The next one is product development and pretty much our bread and butter in everything that we work on. This includes working on greenfield applications, modernizing or refactoring legacy applications, or migrating some of these on-prem workloads to the cloud environment. So DevOps is a critical component of this, where we have automated provisioning of environment and release deployment pipelines using industry standard templates and frameworks. So once the application has moved to production, we have 24/7 teams, support teams to sustain and monitor these applications. We have used standardized tools and platforms in our operations team and have around the clock operations team for network operating systems, infrastructure, and application support. So we have recently added a 24/7 SOC capability, extending the support for many of our critical customers. So finally, for data, our teams have an advanced capabilities in data analytics, both for product and end users, be it Google Analytics or Adobe to get user analytics, or Azure Data Factory or Snowflake for data lakes and real-time data engineering. So we have solved a pretty much complex data use cases, and we'll table it for another webinar and for an in-depth discussion of the same. Right. And next. So introducing our esteemed clientele, Packard serves an expansive array of industries, partnering with leading organizations in finance, healthcare, e-commerce, travel, education, manufacturing, and technology. So our versatile solutions have been tailored to meet the unique needs of each industry, driving innovation, efficiency, and growth. So we now have a presence in various geographies, including GCC, APAC, North America, and India continues to be our primary development center in engineering and operations. So with that, I would like to just highlight some of our awards and compliances. Highlighting our exceptional achievements, Parker has been honored with prestigious industry awards and maintains rigorous compliances. These recognitions serve as a testament to our commitment to excellence and adhere to industry standards, providing our clients with the assurance of unparalleled quality and reliability. All right. So now we are just getting into the main for today's discussion, the primary focus of our webinar. So we will just go through that. As I mentioned before, we will talk about what is that we are going to show, and then we talk some theory about this, and then we will just go to a demo. And at the end of it, we'll have some sort of question and answer sessions. So we all know that ChatGPT is an AI chatbot that uses natural language processing to create human-like conversational dialogues. It's a form of generative AI. So it uses deep learning and a subset of machine learning to generate contextually relevant text given a prompt, which makes it suitable for various applications, from creating chatbots to generating code snippets. So it's a natural language understanding capabilities make it an excellent tool for various applications and automating a task in the software development process. So people are using ChatGPT for various use cases like generating code snippets, debug the code, draft emails, create articles, images, videos, blog posts, and content for websites, and even for composing music. So the main focus for our discussion today is on the software development lifecycle, that too on the development and debugging of the code, which many of us would be really interested to in just seeing that. So with that, maybe Chat GPT in the code improvement, I would like to have a few things just discuss on that. So where all it can help in the SDLC. So ChatGPT can help in code improvements by providing guidance, suggestions, and explanations related to various programming languages, algorithms, and design patterns and best practices. So here are a few ways in which ChatGPT can assist you. So to begin with, it's like a syntax and language specific queries. ChatGPT can help you write a piece of code by giving the right syntax on the language you are interested in, and help in identifying, resolving errors or issues with the syntax of a particular programming language. So it can provide a guidance on correct syntax usage and highlight any potential mistakes in your code. And code refactoring is one area where I just like to highlight is, if you have a piece of code that is difficult to understand, it could be a kind of legacy code, maintain or extend, a Chat GPT can refactor the code for you. It can provide recommendations to make your code more modular, reusable, and easier to comprehend. So performance optimization is another area we just tried with Chat GPT. I mean, it offered suggestions on improving the performance of the code. It guide you in identifying and resolving the performance bottlenecks, optimizing your algorithm, and utilizing appropriate data structures, or leveraging concurrency techniques. So error handling and debugging is another area which is going to be a critical for most of our development, especially when you're in a production environment and it is difficult to replicate in your lower environments. So if you're encountering errors or debugging issues with your code, you can describe the problem to Chat GPT and it can provide suggestion to identify the root cause of the issue. Right. So these are some of the use cases where we will also show a demo in the next couple of minutes. So so now we talked about all the theories. I mean, how we are going to directly use? Do I need to really go to that Chat GPT and then use the OpenAI as a login screen and then always send a prompt? It is not always true. I mean, it allows you to just stay in your IDE and then use some of the plugins so it can dynamically generate the code while you're working in your ID. So OpenAI's language model can be utilized to build various AI-powered applications. I mean, including code generation and completion. So even though there are many plugins available, a few of them are listed below, which are of prime importance to our dev community. The prime thing which I would like to highlight here is our GitHub Copilot, AI pair programmer, and these plugins are available for Visual Studio and IntelliJ, and it's like stay in your ID and complete task faster with the help of multi-line suggestions prompted by your code and code commits. This can be utilized to build new functionality and write unit test cases as well. So the next one is Code Interpreter. I mean, this is in beta right now, and it's an experimental ChatGPT model that can use Python handle your uploads and downloads of your Excel or data sets. And this uses a working Python interpreter in a sandboxed environment, firewalled execution environment, along with some ephemeral disk space. So it just write the code and then it just cleanse the data, and it can also generate a result out of that with not even writing too many lines of code in that. I mean, your interpreter is going to take most of that. The other one is our IntelliCode. I mean, most of you guys are familiar with all the IntelliSense which was introduced by Microsoft. Now they have something like IntelliCode, which is a kind of advanced version of our IntelliSense. Our dev community is using this IntelliSense and will appreciate the next level of intelligence built in the IntelliSense in this feature. So it uses an AI to provide more accurate and relevant suggestions for code completion. And with the ability to analyze developers' code context, it can check the variable names, functions, the type of code used, and so on. And in order to suggest relevant API calls, the developers is most likely to use. So these are the things which are on the development side where it can assist us. And there are another area where I would like to touch base is we generally in a support environment create a lot of KB articles in our environment. So we have some sort of plugin like link reader, and then you feed all the links to this plugin where it can read all that content, and then you can just query that based on your question. It's going to fetch the documents. In this case, you don't need to read all the KB articles, and you don't need to read it. I mean, when you type it, when you prompt it, it's going to generate the exact thing which is there in the document, and you can just quickly provide a solution to that. So these are some of the plugins where we would like to use. Now, enough of theory right now. So I would like to invite Mr. Malinath to show a demo of whatever we discussed so far. Malinath?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Manoj. Let me share my screen. Okay. So in this session, we'll explore ChatGPT, a powerful language model can be leveraged to assist developer in debugging and enhancing their existing code. We'll discuss the underlying concepts, practical use cases, and we provided code samples to illustrate potential of ChatGPT as a debugging tool. So before I start, let me walk through which are the points that we'll be covering. The 3 points that we'll be touch basing are generating new code from the latest ChatGPT intelligent code model, and also generating the test cases as if like we are generating the entire module from the scratch. We'll also be looking into the optimization, performance, and fine tuning of your code. And at the end, we'll also look into the quick debugging and bug fixing for this. So let's start with quick practical. I have a prompt to create the CRUD library, which we will be executing for this code generation. So if I put this one, so here's the prompt I'm making. Create a generic CRUD library which I can use with different databases with different database contexts using entity framework. Implement the base entity class which can be extended for each database entity. And the base entity should have basic metadata like created date, modified date, is deleted for a soft delete. And this is the metadata to be updated in the database context automatically. So we are generating this CRUD library, which is integral part of our any application you take up, which is most used module. Let's see what we get when we prompt this. If you see, we're getting the base entity like we asked for, metadata that is integral part of any entity that we would be using. It also gave us the repository template for getting the hold of the data that we would be extracting from the database. So it also created the database context. And as I requested, it also has taken care the updating the metadata, like created date, modified date, whenever we are updating data to and from the database. So, but I don't see any logging in this one. This is the basic vanilla flavor of the CRUD library. So let me introduce logging. I would just send out a prompt, integrate the logger. So I haven't specified any framework or any specific module, but it is good enough to understand the context and build the code base for you. So if you see, it has integrated the logging mechanism. It has logs generated error and the information. It is easily differentiating where to log the information and where to log the error. So good enough with all the basic that we need for. Okay, so it ended up generating everything that we asked for. One thing I should really say that we don't have error handling mechanism in this one. So let's add that as well. Okay, so here it goes. So far, there was a basic error handling mechanism. Now it probably would add the detailed error handling like try catch. Yes, there it goes. So likewise, whenever we need to generate a code, we need to be specifically prompting those features or those requirements so that it can click around and generate the new code base based on those requirements. It is good enough to understand what you are trying to build based on the context that you are setting up and based on the inputs and the prompts that you are asking for. So we are now, let's say, ready with all the basic classes and all the modules that we need, a third module. And then now let's go and ask for the test cases, see how it goes as a response. This time I explicitly used an unit framework. Let's say that was one of my requirement, and I asked him to update the test case. So it generated test cases using an unit framework, which I asked for. So along with the solution, it also gives us a suggestion that what needs to be installed, what are the prerequisites, or what are the basic configuration we need to perform to use that code. So it's not just generates the code for you, it also generates the suggestion and the environment setup to be needed to make that using. The code interpreter is capable of executing the code, but as it is in beta, so for now it is only supporting Python code. So I wish we could also execute this .NET part. So that is the code generation case where we end up generating entire CRUD library along with the test cases. So this is the first use case. Let's move to the next one where we would be optimizing the existing code. And this was picked up from one of our project. We picked up post sanity cleanup. If you look at the code, code real quick. This is the code. If you look at this code, this is pretty straightforward functionality. It is deserializing the content that we ask for, and this was very frequently calling code functionality in one of the project, but was consuming considerable time in the execution. And we asked ChatGPT, let's see how we can optimize this one. So I'm just providing the code snippet that we have for sanity cleanup, and we are asking to optimize the function that we have, and let's see what it generates. So it has the it suggested to make the deserializer static so that it can reduce the object generation for serialization, which is again a costly entity, costly workout. And then it's also asking to improvise the handling part for exception, which is again an improvising. So if you look at this code, it has picked up, uh, turned into a static function, static member variable, and then serializing only the reader part of it. So when we test this one, definitely there would be a performance improvisation apart along with this, as the reduction in creation of serializer is not included. So that's the way that the ChatGPT can help you out to generate this code. Again, if we are not happy with this one, we can look out for another solution. We can go for regenerate the response. It would give you another solution. And it's up to us which solution to pick it up, test it, use it, and see which solution fits into our existing project architecture or your existing requirement. Still analyzing. It says that it is quite efficient for now. So, I mean, it understood that there is not much to optimize, but what we have received earlier is at the optimum level. Yeah, it still has suggestion. It could not optimize entirely, but it has given the suggestion for caching. Definitely, that will also improvise the performance, as if you already have the cached data, which is already serialized. And as it is frequently calling, you would reduce the entire serialization process. So pick it up and make it use. Okay. So let's see, I don't want to go with caching, and then I can stick to my earlier solution. So I'll go back to my old solution that I received. Let it finish. Okay, it also has PC. So yeah. Okay, so let's see. I want to go back with my first solution, and this looked pretty good for me. That's why I'm just continuing with this, because I don't want to go for caching. So let's see if I, as this variable is static, is what he made. I don't think this would be thread safe if I put this in multi-threaded system, and I might need to ask him, okay, thread safe. See how it takes it up. So it introduced the lock object and it is made thread safe. So this is the second piece. Let's yeah. So in the next use case, we'll be debugging the existing function. Quickly take that. So here we need a, I mean, in one of our project, we were having this functionality to convert the date time to epoch value. And we had well-tested functionality in place and it was all done. And we were in stage testing where we realized we got an intermittent bug, which was not frequently reproducible, which was not that critical, but we had that bug and we could not figure it out. So we analyzed the entire code snippet, and with the initial analysis, we suspected that this function was causing some issue. And as it was well tested, the issue is intermittent. We picked up this one to take it with ChatGPT and find out what could be the issue. So if you see the function, we just converting the entire date into date time and then localizing to take care of time zone and then converting those to epoch time value. So to any tool, it looked like this is pretty much straightforward and taking care of everything. But it was giving an issue. So what we made is we made a ChatGPT to find out what could be the issue in this function. I asked, do you find any? Okay, and I need to provide the function. So let me copy that. So it has some suggestions. So when we got this suggestions out of this one, and we realized, yes, there are a few things we might have missed up, which is leap second and the daylight saving. And the intermittent issue was causing just because we had not considered daylight saving, and that is where ChatGPT quickly identified this and helped us to fix that real quick. So it now considering the daylight saving and the other corner cases where we took it up further and tested in the existing module, and looked like that sorted out our entire issue. So this is how I mean we touch based all the three cases where we covered the entire development cycle of any product, like implementing, creating a code snippet right from scratch, implementing the performance improvisation, and then bug fixing. So to summarize, we can use ChatGPT in any stage of this product development. So that's all from my side. Yeah. Over to you, Manoj.
Thanks, Mali. Thanks for demonstrating this. Certain things may be too technical here, but however, we would like to showcase what ChatGPT is capable of and how we use to effectively use it to reduce our problem areas. So that's the bottom line, which just Malinath showed a demo of the use cases which we generally used before, and we achieved good results out of it. So now when we show this to all our customers, the first question they have is like, it is not enabled for all the users in the organization, or many have just blocked in their scenario because they don't know what should be going out to a different external systems. So they generally ask us what should we consider as a primary requirements in terms of security or infosec policies. So these are some of the areas. I mean, so when we implement and everybody is enthusiastic to use it, but it is also important to consider security aspects of it to protect sensitive data and ensure the system's overall security. So some of that key things which I would like to highlight is here, like employee awareness and training, which is the prime here. I mean, we have to educate our employees about the security policies and best practices related to ChatGPT usage. I mean, consider you guys are our guys are trained on they understand their responsibilities as well and follow security protocols. Second one is the data privacy. Ensure that any sensitive data or confidential data shared with ChatGPT is properly handled and protected. I mean, we cannot just like that take a query and then post it with our table names and everything in it without knowing the criticality of those tables, right? Those are something which we want to highlight. Fact check all ChatGPT content. I mean, it can generate code and everything, but it always comes with a disclaimer. It's impressive in conversational AI model, and but then we also need to see whatever it is generating. Ensure that you have a pair of eyes in that, than just directly take it and then put it in your code base and then start executing this, which is again a key. Even when ChatGPT generate a response, it's going to highlight the same thing. I mean, just validate yours. And like how we do a peer review of our code, I mean, you guys have to just thoroughly understand what is that it is generating. So ensure whenever you are using a third-party integration, ensure that what is the underlying security things they are just providing to safeguard their environment is again another key. And then ensure that we don't have any different set of connection mechanism. It should be all secured so that there is no man in the middle attack kind of environment. And then monitor and audit what we are just posting there, and then just ensure you're not breaching any of your organization's infosec policies. So these are some of the key consideration I would like to just highlight as a takeaway for you, anyone who's planning to use it and implement it in your organization. So with that, we're just coming to the last part of that section, which is a Q&A, right? And if you have anything in some of the areas where we are just handling, if you are interested in it, please reach out to me. My email ID is in that, and then you can ask any of your question. We can just go a deep dive in a one-on-one session with you as well. Or if you're interested in any of the other vertical which we are providing services, always reach out to us, and we'll be having a good time just explaining this to you as well, and then we can just take it forward.